Hello and welcome to Rock Your Block. I'm Tia Young, your host, and do we ever have a great show for you today. My special guests are Mr. Richard Morgan, Senior Agent for Transamerica Agency Network, and our very cool community panel from Falls Church, Virginia, whom all happens to be women today. Our topic today is a part of a two-part series on protection against catastrophic events for families in Middle America. So let's get started. Hi, Richard. How are you today?
Great. Thanks for inviting me today.
We're so glad to have you. And if I could ask our esteemed panel if you would just give your name, and if you're retired, say you're retired, or if you're still working, tell us what you do. Let's start with, we'll start with Ms. Overton.
Okay. My name is Gladys Overton, and I am retired, and I work with the seniors, and I am not employed.
Thank you.
My name is Mary White, and I am retired, and I work with food banks and volunteer for different organizations in the church.
Welcome, Mary.
My name is Frances Stallings. I'm retired, but I work with children during the day, providing care, and also volunteer services with my church's outreach and food bank.
Very good.
My name is Reverend Denise Wilson, and I'm the senior pastor of the Rock Christian Center here in Falls Church, Virginia.
Reverend Wilson, welcome.
Judy Child, and I'm retired, and I work for my church in the prayer teams and some of the outreach things that we need to have done.
Thank you, Judy, so much. Well, we have a very critical subject that we need to talk about today. But before we get into that, Richard has brought a very moving 30-second video that I would like us all to take a look at.
Welcome to Transamerica, where together we're transforming tomorrow.
Your husband put this all together when Emma was born.
He was an amazing man.
This is for you. It's all paid off.
And this is for Emma.
So where do you think she'll go?
Anywhere she wants.
We're making people a more secure tomorrow. What can we make with you? Transamerica. Transform tomorrow.
Wow, Richard, that was really very, very moving.
Thank you.
You know,
Yes.
I'm sitting here thinking of the probably hundreds of thousands of people who have lost a significant member of the family and had to move. They didn't have a place to stay.
Good point.
So that was very, very, very moving. Thank you for bringing that. Well, let's get right into it, and we're going to start out with Richard telling us a little bit about who he is and about Transamerica Network.
Great, thank you. Again, my name's Richard Morgan. I'm a senior agent with Transamerica Agency Network. I've been in the insurance industry since 2001 and have held various positions, including regional director, area manager, sales manager, and now senior agent, which allows me to continue to work with a team of agents, but yet spend more time working directly with clients, which is something I had missed over the years. So this is a new transition since February, and currently I work with a group of approximately 1,000 clients in the Northern Virginia and middle counties of Maryland. And Transamerica Agency Network is a combination of two top-notch, top-rated for financial strength insurance companies, Monumental Life Insurance, which was established in Baltimore, Maryland in 1858, and Transamerica Life Insurance that started business in 1906. And this merger occurred just over a year ago. We have a full portfolio of insurance products. It covers virtually anyone's needs.
Wow. And Richard is a little shy. I've worked with him on a couple of projects, and he's pretty top-notch too. So let me say that. The other thing that I want to share with you is that you will notice in each of your chairs there's a little red folder. this is a little special gift that Richard brought to us. So Richard, would you talk a little bit about what the ladies have in their chairs?
Yes, thanks for pointing that out. One of the things in meeting with folks on a daily basis that everyone seems to mean to do, but sometimes, majority of them anyway, never get around to. And what I included in there is a simple will that comes to us from Monumental Life. And this would be something that you would complete. It's a way to let your family know what your desires are for yourself and for your possessions, as well as what your intent is for your final resting place. So I know you can't fill this out today, but if you don't have a will, the next best thing you could do is set a date, put it on the calendar, say by this date, whether it's July 4th, your next birthday, whatever it is, maybe a month from now, start working on it. And then when you're done with it, go over it with your loved ones. And then keep a copy of it with your insurance policies.
Richard, thank you. That's a very nice gift. And as you were talking, I was thinking, what are the repercussions of people who do not have a will and they pass?
Well, that's an excellent question. If you do not have written instructions on what is supposed to happen to your property, or even just your any special items you have in the house, you know, my dad used to say, where there's a will, there's relatives. And without a will, there are even more of them. And so, so much can happen. It's called probate. And what that does is slows down the whole process of distributing goods, and it can cause a lot of friction within the family, and they've just lost a loved one, and that is not the legacy you want to leave. You want to try and be as organized as possible, avoid any problems within the family.
It's very good advice. Well, let's get to the subject at hand today. These ladies have come prepared, Richard, to grill you and ask you the hard questions from A to Z. So,
okay.
Let me set a backdrop a little bit. In my mind, and also with the people that I have met over the past several years, it looks to me like there are a ton of folks who have absolutely no protection for their families in case of a catastrophic event.
It's true.
And I'm thinking, I mean, I know that we're in a economic, well, we're trying to recover, you know, thank God for that, we are trying to recover. But for the past several years, it's been tough, and people have been without jobs and without monies, but somehow I'm not getting the feeling that there is no money in the communities. I'm getting the feeling that people just don't understand. There's a educational divide there, where they just don't understand about the new products, and maybe we all haven't done a good job in getting out into the communities, into all of the communities, to tell them about it. So that's one of the things that we want to, you know, kind of highlight and examine with Richard today. But I'm thinking in my head that the one thing that we maybe need to get on the same page on is catastrophic event. What is a catastrophic event? And then we're going to ask you ladies first what you think, and then the expert will come and straighten us out. So let's start with Francis.
For me, to have a loved one suddenly stricken with an aggressive cancer,
Okay.
and the medical costs and all of those things that we weren't prepared for, that's a biggie for me.
Reverend Wilson. Thank you, Francis. Reverend Wilson.
I would say the death of the primary breadwinner is a catastrophic event.
Yeah, that would be. Thank you. Judy?
I would say that the death of a child, whether it's a small child or a child of age of earning
Right.
in a family.
I can identify with that one because I lost my brother a little over a year ago, and he was, an adult. Mary?
Well, I lost my sister with a massive heart attack.
Heart attack.
Yes.
Because these are things that you're not necessarily expecting, they just happen. Gladys?
I lost my son last year in January, and I am getting better over it, but it's been hard.
That was catastrophic for our entire family.
Right.
That's right. Okay, so Richard, start us out with what you think. I mean, are we right, or are we on target, or are we not?
Well, let me say this. The role of a insurance advisor is to help the client identify what is going to affect their family in a negative way financially. So many things are not even thought of. A lot of folks think of death as a catastrophic event, which it is, prematurely. Another one a lot of people do not think of is a disability. That not only, and in a lot of ways it's actually worse, because there's ongoing expenses and no income. With a death, there's no income, but there's no added expense to care. So all the items you've talked about, any type of severe illness, cancer or sudden heart attack that requires care and treatment, and then the premature death of a child is never easy for anyone. And the loss of a breadwinner is very hard on the family, and that's kind of where we started the program today, was talking about taking care of matters for the family. And usually, not always, but in most families, the best way to provide for that transfer of risk is through a insurance policy. So you put in a little and it pays out a lot.
Right. Well, so Richard, thank you. So ladies, you did a good job. I mean, it looks like everything that we brought up is something that Richard agrees with us on. We're going to take a short station break, but we'll be right back with Mr. Richard Morgan of Transamerica Agency Network and our community panel from Falls Church, Virginia.
Filing for Social Security online is so easy, a beatnik can do it with his laptop in any malt shop.
Hello, you're watching Rock Your Block with Tia Young, that's me, and Richard Morgan of Transamerica Agency Network and our fantastic community panel. So welcome back. Richard, what did you bring for us today? What can you teach us in this series? And we've got one right after this, and I know that it's not a lot of time, but I'm hoping that you can tell us some things that'll make a difference in our lives.
Great, thank you. Well, I brought a few slides that might be instructive on and give you some ideas of how you can solve some of these concerns. And that is this PowerPoint will go through solving the income need for today's families. This is an interesting concept here. For generations in America, we all tried to do better for our kids. And as Tia was referencing earlier on, things have been a little tough lately. And this slide here lets us look at what this poll shows, that about half the people think things are getting worse instead of better. Life Insurance Management Research Association, otherwise known as LIMRA, has told us through their surveys that as of 2010, the number of households that are uninsured, or equally important, underinsured, is about at a 50-year high. And that, again,
Isn't that high?
that's high.
That's high.
If anyone's ever been to a funeral where they're passing the hat, that's not easy to watch. And then this slide is to show you buyers versus non-buyers. As we were talking about, and this is broken out by percentage, why folks buy insurance. And you'll see the top two choices, income replacement and burial and final expenses. On the other side, a lot of people don't know that insurance policies have dropped in cost over the last few years, and they're thinking it's far more expensive than it really is. Or they couldn't decide on what coverage amount or type. They're afraid of making the wrong decision. And the bottom two are the same. They don't know enough. Not finished shopping is another way of saying they're putting off a decision.
I want to say something about that percent of non-buyers, that very top one, policy too expensive, could not afford a premium. I recently had a situation with a very good friend that we tried to talk to about getting covered. And her comment to me was that it was just too expensive, she couldn't afford it. Within 6 months, she came down with a very serious disease. And at that time, there was nothing that anybody could do. I mean, she is still here with us, thank God, and we're believing that everything will work out okay. But they're having a hard time, all because she thought it was too expensive. What is too expensive when it involves your health or the health or life of your families?
Well, on that point, sometimes the way we address that is by looking at the budget, because by eliminating or educating yourself on how to take care of yourself, and that could be just simple ways of shopping differently, or clipping a coupon, or making your own coffee instead of going to a particular outlet that we all know of. Before you know it, you really do have the funds, and it's just reallocating your priorities and the values that you have for long-term goal setting as opposed to immediate desires.
Right. I like that, reallocating your resources. That's good. Okay.
One of the strategies that is relatively new is this income protection option, where instead of giving the family one lump sum, for instance, $500,000, it can be broken out with an initial sum of dollars and then a guaranteed monthly income stream from 5 to 25 years, and then another sum at the end. It actually helps lower the cost of the premium, and in essence sets up what we refer to as a poor person's trust, because there's no cost to set this up, but it spreads it out so someone doesn't go, not everyone's used to having a big sum of money, and this makes sure the family is taken care of.
Richard, I have a question. When you are meeting with a client, do you sit down with them and work through a budget type analysis, or do you just depend on whatever they say they think they need? How do you do that?
Well, that's an excellent question, and with each client it's a little different, but our goal, the way we're trained, is to do a needs analysis to make sure, and this might sound odd from an insurance man, but you can't have too much insurance, life insurance, and life is for the living. And you don't want to be spending so much money on life insurance you can't enjoy the things around us that cost some money. But that also means being a smart shopper. And the analysis includes seeing what all your needs are and how best to cover them with various products that will be affordable. In this example, we have a family with 3 children, both parents employed. Their concerns, the kind of things that I'll ask people, what do you worry about? What keeps you up at night? What is your heart telling you? What are you worried about that keeps you up? And this, Danny's worried that his family won't have enough living expenses if something happens to him. And how does he make sure his children have plenty of security financially in the future. So this is the example I was referring to. He would pick for himself $50,000 initially, and then $3,000 for 15 years monthly, each month, and then a lump sum at the end. And that'll change with each family. And a lot of times the extent of the years might be to make sure the wife gets from her current age to when the Social Security would go into effect for her, or when the youngest would have been out of college. Whatever it is in that particular case, we'll structure it. This is an economical, simple way to set this up. It gives control to the policy owner, and the death benefit payout options are flexible. They can be changed prior to death, but they are in place, non-flexible, after the death. So the wishes of the insured are managed from the grave. So when we're talking to a client, we want to build a family protection plan and make sure, as I had mentioned earlier, with all the different concerns and economic conditions and uncertainty, make sure there's money for the family. And we have any option available.
So that sums it up. Does that sum it up pretty
That's
much?
a short and sweet version.
That's very good, Richard. I had not quite seen it put like that, and in such simple terms. I think, you know, I hadn't expected that. I had expected to see something that was much more involved and something that would take, I'd have to go to my accountant to have him help me work this out.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's just one example. And there are other products to be set up different ways for different reasons. And for a retiree, it's going to be different than a young family. But there's always a value in sitting down with an expert just for your own peace of mind, that what you have in place is what you really is. It's a lot of people will think they have something. We review the actual policy, and it's a little different than what you really thought it was. So the message is these things should be reviewed, your financial situation and how you're set up. You know, at least every few years with our clients, we try and visit annually. We set up annual reviews because things do change in families.
Right. Richard, let's just say that you're coming to my house to do a needs analysis for me. How much time should I allot for that visit? And what kind of paperwork do I need to have any paperwork for you? Do I need to prepare for your visit?
Well, for a thorough, proper visit, having a 1040.
Okay.
A lot of you would be surprised what you can discover in a 1040. Your tax return of what type of investments you have, what you've allocated for your exemptions. You know, is too much money going out of your paycheck that you're getting a return at the end of the year? Would it be better to use that money now for investing and do better than having the government hold it? Those kind of ideas will pop out of that. And there, again, it's a way to review and understand that there might be funds available for your concerns if we look at the big picture. But we'd want to look at that. We'd want to look at what current policies you have, know what your mortgage is, things of that nature, kind of get a big picture, holistic view.
Another question. My husband is an agent. He is an insurance agent. And sometimes he tells me that he will go to a home and it will be a couple. And generally it's the wife that's there. Husband is not there. And my question to you, Richard, is that good? I mean, when you go to a family to talk to them, should everybody be there, including the kids? Or should you, at a minimum, have both the husband and wife there?
Well, it's funny you should say that. And I know today I had a call back from one of the clients. She said, should I have my husband there? I said, well, how well do you get along with your husband? You know, so well, we're fine. I said, well, I recommend you have him there. Let's talk it all out all at once. So yeah, we want everyone's involvement because hearing it from me, You know that old telephone game, when we were kids, you say one thing to someone next to you, and by the time it gets around the room, it's completely misshapen.
That's right.
So hearing it from the source, and then they can talk about it, is usually the
It's the
desired
easiest.
method.
Okay, very good. Well, Richard, it looks like our time is just about up, and I want to thank Mr. Richard Morgan for his excellent presentation, and would like to ask him to come back because he's got to do part 2 soon.
Okay.
and we also want to thank our wonderful panel. We're expecting you guys to come back as well so you can ask those tough questions. And if you have any questions for me, please email me at skillstorock@gmail.com. And if you have any questions at all for Richard, you will see his information scrolling on the screen. So thank you again for watching, and bye-bye.